Welcome back to another lesson with me, Mr. B. For the next 2 lessons, we're going to revisit some previously made videos on the 4 I's of oppression, starting with ideological and institutional oppression. Ideological oppression is the idea that one group is somehow better than another, and in some measure has the right to control the other group. So emphasis on the root word right here, idea, ideological. If you haven't watched this series, that's okay. But the premise of the show is that this one race, which is playing in the background, they also had this idea or notion that they were exploring or discovering something. Kind of like what we learned about with Christopher Columbus, right? He thought he was discovering America when in fact the indigenous peoples were already here. Anyways, this ultimately led to leaders perpetuating or enforcing their systems, institutions, or organizations on other people. And their leader, Fire Lord Sozin, he believed that the Fire Nation was better than other nations and wanted to share their wealth with the rest of the world. So this idea or notion to share their wealth is that right to control another group, right? They want to share their wealth with the rest of the world, but really what they're doing is trying to colonize and take power for themselves. Which brings us to institutional oppression. Institutional oppression is when an organization or institution actively oppresses individuals or groups. And this could be from group to person. It just has to be a larger organization or institution to a group of individuals or people. Just like the example playing in the back, as there is a fire nation or country, there is an earth kingdom. And this earth kingdom is corrupted by their police force known as the Daili. This law enforcement uses the power of the king to keep other parts of the capital segregated and under control. So what did they do to keep these places segregated? In the show, they separated this Earth Kingdom capital in 3 parts. There's the upper ring down here, and we can kind of see how it depicts that there's this one estate in this entire area. And you can kind of see other houses in the background, but for the most part, it's probably this person's land next to a nice lake. Doesn't look like there's very many other people around the vicinity. So the upper ring consists of government officials, honored guests, the 1%, the people at the top who hold all of the money essentially. And then we have the middle ring, which is probably like the upper middle class. You know, people have stable jobs. There's still some sort of private property, as we can see. So there's houses over here, and some over there. There's clearly a public road for people to go about. There's public municipality, like boats. And you can kind of see this little BART thing, right? There's a train there. So clearly, this is connected to the rest of the capital more so than the upper ring. Now let's look at the lower ring. Here, the lower ring depicts the impoverished classes, the slums, if you will. Notice how tight the housing is, right? All the houses are really close together. There's like barely any space in there. It's just small alleys. And clearly, just like the middle ring, they have the little BART station thing going on, right? They have the tram going around, but it goes throughout this entire part of the city, right? That's huge. That's like almost 2/3 of this image. And clearly the housing is right next to it. You can see it at the base of these little rail legs. I hope that gave a clear definition on the systemic influences of ideological and institutional oppression. They affect larger systems and organizations. Up next, we'll look at interpersonal and internalized oppression. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.